Have you ever felt uncomfortable in a place that once felt like home? Have you ever looked around your environment and realized your spirit no longer feels connected to it? Sometimes life changes quietly before it changes loudly. Before a person moves physically, they usually move emotionally and mentally first. Many people ignore these moments because they think confusion means weakness. But sometimes confusion is the beginning of awakening. Sometimes your soul starts rejecting what your old self was once comfortable with. You begin to notice patterns, energy, and people differently. The conversations around you stop feeding your mind. The environment begins to feel heavy instead of inspiring. And deep down, you feel like your next chapter cannot happen where you currently are. This is not always punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. There are seasons in life when staying in the same place slowly destroys your growth. Not because the place is evil, but because you have outgrown it. A bird cannot learn to fly if it keeps hiding inside a broken nest forever. Many chosen people experience this silent transition. They begin to feel disconnected from old routines and old environments. Their heart starts craving peace, clarity, and purpose. But the strange thing is that nobody around them understands what they are feeling. People may even call them ungrateful or dramatic. Yet inside, something deeper is happening. Your mind begins asking bigger questions about your future. Your spirit begins searching for meaning beyond survival. And that inner discomfort becomes impossible to ignore. This video is not about running away from problems. It is about recognizing when life is pushing you toward transformation. A new location is not always another country or another city. Sometimes it means a new environment, new friendships, or a new mindset. Sometimes the move begins internally before it becomes physical. And if you ignore the signs for too long, life can start feeling emotionally suffocating. Growth often requires separation from what keeps you spiritually asleep. That is why many chosen people go through lonely seasons before elevation. Their old environment can no longer support the person they are becoming. And although the process feels painful, it often creates wisdom and self-awareness. Today, we are going to explore 3 powerful signs that your life may be preparing for a major shift. And by the end of this video, you may understand yourself more deeply than ever before. The first sign is that you suddenly feel emotionally drained in your current environment. You wake up tired even after resting. Your energy disappears around certain people and places. Simple conversations begin to feel exhausting. The environment that once motivated you now feels emotionally heavy. This usually happens when your inner world no longer matches your outer world. Your spirit begins rejecting what your old self accepted for years. Psychologically, this happens when personal growth outpaces your surroundings. You begin craving depth while others remain comfortable with repetition. You stop enjoying fake conversations and meaningless drama. Your mind wants peace, growth, and emotional clarity. And deep down, you realize your environment may be limiting your evolution. Many people ignore this sign because they fear change. They keep forcing themselves to stay connected to environments that drain them. But emotional exhaustion is sometimes a signal, not a weakness. Your mind and body often recognize misalignment before your logic does. You may notice that you feel lighter when you leave certain places. You may even feel more alive when you are alone. This is because your nervous system is reacting to emotional overload. Some environments slowly crush creativity, hope, and inner peace. And the longer you stay there, the more disconnected you become from yourself. Chosen people often feel this before major transformation happens. Their soul starts pulling away from unhealthy patterns naturally. And eventually they understand that peace is more valuable than familiarity. The second sign is that people around you begin misunderstanding you constantly. Suddenly, your goals sound strange to others. Your silence makes people uncomfortable. Your desire for growth feels threatening to those who fear change. You notice that old friendships begin fading naturally. The people who once understood you now criticize your mindset. This happens because growth changes your energy and priorities. When your consciousness expands, your conversations also change. You stop bonding over gossip, negativity, and distraction. You begin searching for wisdom, peace, and purpose instead. And not everyone is willing to grow with you. Some people only love the version of you that stayed small. This realization can feel painful at first. Humans naturally fear isolation and rejection. But sometimes separation is necessary for transformation. You cannot become your highest self while constantly shrinking to fit old spaces. Many chosen people experience loneliness before clarity enters their life. Not because they are cursed, but because they are changing internally. Psychologically, transformation often creates temporary emotional distance from others. You begin seeing life differently, and that changes your relationships. The people around you may think you are becoming arrogant. But in reality, you are simply becoming more self-aware. And self-awareness often separates you from environments built on unconscious habits. Growth forces you to choose between comfort and evolution. The third sign is that you keep feeling called towards something unfamiliar. You cannot explain it logically, but you feel pulled toward change. Maybe it is a city, a career path, or a completely different lifestyle. You start imagining a life that feels more peaceful and meaningful. And even when you try to ignore it, the feeling keeps returning. This is important because inner transformation usually begins with imagination. Before people change their reality, they first see possibilities mentally. Your mind begins creating visions beyond your current environment. And those visions create emotional tension inside you. Part of you wants safety, while another part wants growth. This internal battle happens to many chosen people. The unknown scares them, but staying the same scares them even more. Sometimes life places dreams inside your mind for a reason. Not every desire is random. Certain visions appear because your deeper self is seeking alignment. You may begin watching different content and reading different books. Your interests suddenly shift toward healing, purpose, and self-development. You no longer feel excited by the same distractions. This is often a sign that your identity is evolving. Psychologically, people transform when their internal values begin changing deeply. The old life no longer satisfies the new mind being created inside them. And eventually, the discomfort becomes stronger than the fear of moving forward. That is when real transformation begins. Not when life becomes easy, but when staying the same becomes unbearable. The truth is that many people stay trapped because they fear uncertainty. They remain in environments that slowly destroy their confidence and peace. They confuse familiarity with destiny. But comfort is not always alignment. Sometimes comfort becomes the prison stopping your evolution. Chosen people eventually realize this through experience. They understand that growth often requires leaving what feels safe. Not because they hate people, but because they finally value their peace. Your future may require a different environment to fully develop. Your mindset may need distance from constant negativity and limitation. And your purpose may require a version of you that your old environment cannot understand. That realization changes everything internally. If this message connected deeply with you, take a moment and reflect honestly. Ask yourself whether your current environment is helping your growth or killing it slowly. Ask yourself whether you are evolving or simply surviving. Sometimes the answers you avoid are the answers that can free you. And remember this carefully: your transformation begins the moment you stop betraying your inner truth. The moment you stop shrinking yourself for acceptance. The moment you finally choose peace over emotional chaos. That is when real awakening begins. Not when life becomes perfect, but when you become conscious. Conscious of your value, your energy, and your direction. Conscious of the environments shaping your future daily. And conscious of the person you are slowly becoming. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And in the comments below, tell me what realization you have had about yourself and the people around you recently. Your story may help someone else feel less alone in their journey. Keep growing, keep reflecting, and never ignore the voice inside you calling for change.